Good afternoon, everyone. It's Carol here from aquahaven747.com. And today's video, I would like to share with you some tips on small space decorating and organizing. Now, whether you live in a small space now or whether you're contemplating downsizing to a smaller place, I think all these ideas may help you. So if that is something that you're interested in, please keep watching and I'll see you at the end. Now here we are in my guest suite, and I thought it would be best to show you some of the design and organizing principles which I have incorporated here for small space living. Now obviously it's a guest space, so it does not have all my stuff here. However, I do have a lot of storage things here, and that is what I wanted to share with you. But we'll start with the couch and the chair here. As you will notice, they're very clean lines. They're not overly large, although I don't believe this was considered an apartment size sofa when my parents bought it back in the 1960s. So if you do prefer the larger poofy couches, I mean, you can do that. But to avoid the space looking cluttered, you need to avoid having all kinds of extra little pieces around. So pick one big thing and go with it, and then don't over clutter the space with a bunch of little things, so you can compensate for how big that item is. So anyway, so this is a very clean line look. It's been reupholstered many times since, at least 3 times that I know of since my parents got it in the 60s. But you'll notice that it has legs on it, just as the dresser does over there. So more floor space is showing, and visually it does not take up as much space. So avoid like really low set furniture and upholstered furniture that has skirts on it if you want to make a small space look bigger. This is actually a pull-out sofa too, so it does double duty by being a bed as well as a place for people to sit. I have a little ottoman here, so people put their feet up on it, and it is storage. I don't have anything in there right now. In the winter, I will throw a throw blanket in there sometimes, but you know, incorporating things that have storage is key to small space decorating. My floor lamp here has a couple of shelves on it, so if I wanted to, I could put some little decor pieces on there. And I have a little pedestal table. Now, pedestal tables also do not take up much visual floor space. This particular one also is a shiny metal, so reflective surfaces also help to visually expand a space. And what else did I want to say? I've got this other little table here, so it's not like a solid piece. So the more leg space that's available in a side table, the better. You know, it will visually expand the space. Now here you see I have used this dresser as a TV stand, so there is also a multifunction purpose for it. Dressers are great for multifunction purposes, depending on the style, but this goes perfectly in the living room as well, and it also has a lot of storage. So I've got some games in here and puzzles, and I've got some throw blankets for my guests. But you know, I've already pointed out that it is on legs, so it shows a little bit more of the floor space, and it's also a similar color to the wall. It kind of blends in a little bit. It does have a little bit of contrast there, but that's another way that you can trick the eye to make a space look a little bigger. This little secretary desk is also a great idea for small space decorating and organizing. It has a file drawer at the bottom, which that's the two bottom drawers are actually one that you can put files in, and then the top drawer there is pretty substantial, so you can store a lot of supplies in it. But the great thing about these secretary desks is it just looks like a cabinet when it's closed up, and it contains all the mess. And then when you want to work in it, you put it down, and there you go. You can work at it, and if you don't feel like putting things away nice and tidy, then you can just close it for the day, and that's that. Bob's your uncle. Another little handy thing to have for a small space. Round tables work best in small spaces. Now, visually, they don't take up as much space, but also functionally, they're a lot easier to get around. And I would say that pedestal tables are even better than the type that have the 4 legs like this one does. Because if you wanted to, you might even be able to squeeze a couple extra people in. Now, I have gone against one of the small space principles too with the chairs here, because these have arms on them. So they're a little bit harder to get in and out of. So keep that in mind as well. Chairs without arms are better for small spaces. Now here in my living room, I have a storage ottoman instead of a coffee table. I also don't have a coffee table here because I like to just put my feet up. I have this neat little accent table that just tucks under, and I can move it around as needed, so it doesn't take up any extra floor space. I have a little pedestal accent table here, which also doesn't take up as much visual space because it shows a lot more of the floor. Having lots of storage options is essential in organizing a small space. I have this headboard with pull-out shelves on either side, and in my old apartment before I moved here, I actually used this as a console, and I had my movies on either side in the shelves. And then I used it as a console originally when I moved here, but it does work really well in my guest room here as a headboard. And this bed here also has storage underneath, so there's extra options right there. When you live in a small space, having collections can be a little bit tricky. And I think the best way to deal with your collections is to group them all together. Now, I have a collection of my white dishware in this cabinet. All the white stuff, all the white serving stuff is here. I do have a few other neutral colored things at the bottom that aren't as visible. So that's one area I've got a lot of like items together. On this wall here, I have grouped my collection of original art together. And here I have made a collage of my collection of family photos, like ancestors, and a few little treasures, like the christening gown and the little decoupage plate up there. If you are renovating, you might want to consider using pocket doors where you don't want to have to worry about there being a lot of clearance for a door. Another thing to keep in mind when you are renovating is to try and keep all the flooring the same. It will expand the space, at least visually, if you do not have a hodgepodge of different flooring in each room and each area. Take advantage of unique little cubbies and storage spaces. And also you might want to make some little shelf niches in between studs. In these photos of my old apartment, I wanted to point out that they had these neat pocket doors between the living room and my office / guest room. And they also had made bookshelves out of a nook where a window used to be. So you see that in the office and also in the bedroom. I also tried to repeat using the same colors from room to room. So I had neutral colors on the walls and the brown on the furniture, but then I also had white and aqua and green. In the bedroom, I used 2 3-drawer chest of drawers instead of nightstands, and I also used a couple of mirrors to help reflect the light. In my office, I had a chair bed where my nephew stayed when he spent the night, and I also had a sofa bed in the living room for any other guests. Well, here we are almost at the end, and I should say finally, and maybe I should have put this at the beginning, you want to try and minimize your clutter. Assign everything a home, make sure things are put away, and there's lots of ways that you can hide your clutter, and that might be the subject for another video. If you're interested in that, let me know. But anyway, if you have found this helpful, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, I would love to have you subscribe. It would really help my channel, and I will see you in the next one.